Hi there, that's right. Great and glorious, soon to be famous one day. Nick Dutch back on the camera again. How the heck's it going? I know, it's amazing what I'll do to stop myself from smoking cigarettes, isn't it? Anyway, I've been requested to do a video on the subject of precognitive visions and dreams. To be honest, they're very curious things. It's very difficult to say precisely how they operate, but it was, I guess it was precognitive visions and dreams which actually brought me back into an interest in the supernatural, not just the childlike interest I had when I was a kid and like reading books on ghosts and the rest of it, fiction books. I was more interested in how to actually control some of the things I was experiencing. And what I was experiencing was a wide variety of visual and auditory impressions, and sometimes emotional impressions as well, that appeared to have dramatic correlation and accuracy to things that were actually going to happen later on down the line in my day-to-day life. I've described this before, in previous videos, and it's still very difficult for me to work out precisely the whys and wherefores of these things. I'd learned about a chant, a Buddhist chant, which I then did rather a lot, and I kind of learned I could get rather relaxed with it and I could rather enjoy it, and one day when the parents were out I did it out loud for a total of 10 minutes, enjoying every single minute of it. And during the chanting, it occurred to me, maybe, just maybe, I could make a wish afterwards. Wouldn't that be fun? So there was I doing my chanting out loud whilst preparing for bed and getting myself changed for a total of 10 minutes. And I was really enjoying the chanting and getting into it, and I was thinking about what will I wish for at the end of it. And I wished to see visions of the future in my dreams. Just little snatches of the future. Part of myself thought well, that won't be too hard, would it? If there's anything weird and supernatural that could happen, little glimpses of the future in my dreams would be very easy to achieve, wouldn't it? Of course, I thought I was kidding myself. That's the kind of joke I had in my mind, or maybe it was a question of creating a suspension of disbelief. And so, at about 10 minutes into the chanting, I said out loud, I wish to see glimpses of the future in my dreams. And what followed, not on that night, but on some subsequent nights, were some of the most curious things I'd ever had that could ever happen. I was literally seeing things in this sort of half-awake, half-asleep state that would happen later on down the line. Just a few minutes worth of someone talking, or a particular vista that I might see when turning my head around the corner, and I would see all the same people in all the same places in that particular scene in reality as I'd seen in the dream, say 5 nights before. And I would be able to remember which night I had that little vision or dream or deja vu moment or whatever it was, and at what time in the night I woke up thinking, God, that was a weird dream. And I'll think, oh, it's truth, this is happening in reality, and that scared me. It scared me rather a lot, even to the point whereby I would deliberately try and not sleep, in case I was in touch with something evil. Which, on reflection, I probably was not. The strange things seemed to occur, possibly caused by my chanting and my prayering, or whatever it was that I was doing. And the result was just emotionally peculiar. But yes, it did seem to begin from the day when I did my chanting and wish. And yes, that's what basically led me to go to the bookshop and spend my benefits money on books on spiritual healing and magic and all the rest of that, and eventually led me into the New Age pagan world and all the other fun things that I ended up doing next. It was all stimulated by that one strange time in my life. So, do these things happen? Well, they seem to. Are they controllable? I don't know. And even if I did manage to, on one particular occasion, seem to control it. Let's say I did my chanting and I made a wish set to say I want to see 5 minutes worth of what is going to happen on Thursday the 19th of such and such a month at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and hey presto, it happened. Would I actually be able to say that I had sufficient control over this to be able to control it forever? Bottom line, no. All I could say is that it happened once. Unless, of course, I could do it every single day or whatever. And I could take notes of precisely the physical state I was in, the mental state I was in, and how I seemed to achieve the result. But the bottom line is, these things are weird, peculiar, bizarre, abnormal. Or maybe abnormal is not the word, and I should substitute the word paranormal. Not necessarily supernatural, but definitely it happened. And it was not what you might consider to be normal. So therefore the word paranormal is applicable. It can make you think what else could be achieved by this apparent method of chanting and making wishes, or stating your intention, or visualizing a sigil, or whatever it is that you're doing. But there's lots of things that I've done through that method which did not provide any apparent results at all. So that makes it even more enigmatic. You know, why does this work sometimes and not other times? What was it that I was doing right or doing wrong? And we mustn't fall into the trap of developing beliefs. Because if we do that, then we're not continuing to investigate the natural phenomenon at hand. And basically all we'll be doing is jumping to conclusions and saying, well, this is what it, this is the way it seems, therefore this must be the way it is. Whereas it would be more worthwhile saying this is the way it seems to be. And we can't say anything more than that. I'd love to be able to turn around to someone and say, no, you really can cure all diseases with this, and control the seasons, as Alphonse Louis Constant did. I think it was in Transcendental Magic, or was it History of Magic? I can't remember. I'd love to be that type of person, but also to be that type of person I'd have to be thick as two short planks, because I would be extrapolating far too far. It would be great fun though. It might impress a few people, but it would piss me off and I'd feel thoroughly amoral or immoral because I'd have led someone astray through just promoting some kind of strange belief. And would that do any good? Would that provide any progress or benefit for the rest of humanity? I don't think it would. It would probably be quite detrimental to some individuals who would end up getting too paranoid, neurotic and or superstitious, rather than basically focusing on what's really, really important, namely trying to carry on finding out more about life. These strange experiences help us to ask more questions, but they certainly don't provide us with more answers. Do I believe that I had touched the same thing that Nostradamus had? Possibly, possibly not. I've got no idea. And I don't think that we can actually say precisely what it was that Nostradamus had touched. He was a person who said stuff that was rather poetic, and being prophetic is rather open to interpretation. If you go to bookshops of a certain type, every other year, you will see that there is one book somewhere that will prophesize the end of the world next year. Well, that's what I've found. I've been going to bookshops for, to look for weird occult stuff once in a while since like the late 80s and early 90s. And there's always been some book saying the world's going to end in 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992, 1993, 95, 97, 99, 2000. And right now it's all this 2012 paranoia and 2020 paranoia, and some people are even saying 2010 paranoia. They're all lunatics. They're just lunatics. I personally think an important attitude is to be curious about these things, but not to worry about them. everyone wants to be in a position of knowledge. Everyone wants to be associated with the people who are in a position of knowledge. Everyone wants to be the kind of person who can speak as if they're a person in a position of knowledge. Well, I'm not in a position of knowledge. I'm in a position of experience. And being in a position of experience can be fun. But being in a position of experience is not being in a position of knowledge. It's being in a position of being open to certain things of a certain type, in terms of what might hypothetically be the case, on the basis of certain extrapolations. Damn tobacco-free shisha. The flavor's great, but there's no damn nicotine in it. This one's white grape flavor, and it's really heavenly.